So I found there's this really insidious thing going on about the Second Amendment debate and the potential, gun regulations that might come from the fact that these 20 kids, like, straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. And the insidious thing is, I've seen this several times on the Piers Morgan guests and other people saying that the Second Amendment is there so that we could rise up against tyranny. No, it's not. Now, Thomas Jefferson and some other founding fathers may have said a thing or two about this, but that's not what passed the Constitutional Convention, which had a big triangulation of differing perspectives on things. But it's certainly, the Second Amendment is absolutely, it's indefensible that it's there so that you could rise up against the Republic. That's not the case. Okay, now everybody that works for the government has to swear an oath to the Constitution, and now it's true, they're not even officially a part of the government if they break those vows. Right, and they're subject to criminal punishment, right, if they act against the Constitution, right? But there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can bear arms to rise up against them because you think that that's going to happen. The legal system, the justice system, does not go down to the Second Amendment, right? Quite to the contrary. I was hoping I had it up here. Article 3, Section 3. Let's just put it in here. U.S. Constitution, treason. The U.S. Constitution defines treason in Article 3, I believe, Section 3. Yes. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Okay, and then it goes on to how many witnesses and the fact that if you commit treason, your son isn't, or daughter isn't necessarily guilty of treason. If you levy war against the Republic of the United States, you're a traitor. If you argue for that, then you're seditious. And you may be already giving aid and comfort to our enemies. End of story. The Second Amendment specifically says a well-regulated militia being necessary to a free state. So the only reason, now there may be other reasons, and I agree that it's an individual right, but the one and only reason given in this very short and to the point amendment is a well-regulated militia, right? And that's not a military. I saw Penn Jillette being a retard. Excuse me, I apologize to people that might actually have retarded development. But he was being an asshole talking about militia as though that's a military. Like in our revolution, we just beat a militia. No, a militia is a civilian army. Very different and rare thing, actually, in history. It's one of the ideas that we had in our American Revolution. We didn't actually try because we always kept a standing army ever since the Revolutionary War. Some people thought we wouldn't do that. Oops. This well-regulated militia is supposed to have given an oath to the Constitution and things like that and be well-armed. It's a good defense policy. I made a video about that. You can't take up arms against the U.S. government or else you're a traitor. Now, maybe it's okay to be a traitor if you think your government is corrupt or something, but if you vow to the Constitution, then you're not taking... The Second Amendment is not the right to revolt. Thomas Jefferson has a quote that has become famous that every 20 years, I guess it is, or every generation or whatever, there could be a revolt or you have to be vigilant. Yeah, American people do have a tradition of being vigilant against the government that we haven't really acted on. But anyway, there's this traditional idea of this. But that's not what the Second Amendment is about. The Second Amendment is about being able to defend the country without needing a standing army, without even needing a National Guard that is, permanently employed full-time except for in times of war. It's like when people attack, you put out the call and the militia forms and boom, they kick ass. And even though there's a reaction time problem with that kind of military, the advantage is it's everywhere. It's already deployed. So it's an interesting idea, and that is the only reason given for the individual right to bear arms, is so that, it's somehow related to being able to be in a militia. And just having the arms, maybe that's considered a militia. The fact that they can draft people is potentially because you're already in the militia if you're of the right age. And so you're in the militia because you can be called up. But a real militia is a civilian army. Now, maybe that's unworkable, but I think it's an interesting idea when you think about the fact that it's to keep you from having a standing army that goes and fucks with people because it's got nothing else to do. It fucks with people in peacetime and shits its pants and kicks ass in times of war. Treason against the United States shall consist in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. The Second Amendment says you'll have a militia that supports the free state. There is no right to raise arms against the United States of America. The Constitution is sufficient. It says you prosecute these things as crimes, and here's how you prosecute them, and you need 2 witnesses for treason, and etc. And it's to defend the United States that you have the right to bear arms, or possibly the public space. It is not a right to raise arms against the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution has a very clear methodology for dealing with violations of it. So, I think this is a very dangerous thing, to tell you the truth, because in human history, America isn't so exceptional that we can't fall prey to things that other countries have fallen prey to. And sometimes a mass hysteria and more or less public personality disorder will take hold, and conspiracies and crazy, fanatical things will take hold. Like, maybe we are going to lose more gun rights than we ought to lose because of this, that, and the other. Oh dear. We are so more liberal about gun laws than all the other industrialized nations, our main trading partners. It's pretty clear we're not going to go to hell in a handbasket if, 100-round clips are made illegal. And if you disagree with that, I want to hear your defense of why we should be able to have armed tanks, because I believe, ideally, we should. People should be trustworthy enough that it's like, hey, I got an armed tank. You want to come out to my 100-acre ranch? We blow up bales. Say, hey, it's fine. Woo. I think that should be fine. And it kind of sucks that Americans aren't responsible enough to just play with high-powered fireworks like that without making it deadly. But I'm willing to accept that, okay, we've all assessed each other, and most of us don't think you should be able to have rocket launchers, surface-to-air missiles, or armed tanks. I'm willing to accept that. If you're willing to accept that, don't give me a fucking thing about, and we have to have 100-round clips. No, maybe 10-round clips is enough. I mean, get realistic. Stop being end of the world with me. It's ridiculous. Even if it was really bad, it doesn't mean it's forever. We can figure it out. Don't worry. This end of the world, they're going to come take all of our guns overnight. That's not going to happen like 2012. Okay? That's not going to happen like 2012.